Hello, welcome back to the Property Pilot. Today we're talking about 11 property investor habits that will deliver you a return on investment. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Marco. I'm a property investor, developer and mentor. And this video is all about 11 property investor habits that I've handpicked and selected, habits that I do myself personally, and how they'll deliver a return on investment and a benefit to you. So it's vitally important that you watch this video all the way to the very end. Naturally, of course, I've saved the best habits till the very end. So number one is to follow up on every offer. This is really, really important. My mentees know that I have a Google Sheet document where I detail all the offers I've submitted. So every month I'll follow up on this offer. So maybe the property I've offered on, the offer was rejected, or maybe they accepted an offer from a different buyer. Regardless, it's really important to follow up. 1 in 3 property transactions fall out of bed in the UK, and they could be one of those 3. So for example, if you've submitted an offer and it's rejected and they decided to choose and proceed and accept another offer, well, there's no harm touching base because that offer could fall through. Conversely, if the property's still on the market, well, again, maybe it's worth submitting your offer again, or maybe actually can you increase your offer? Have interest rates come down slightly, which means maybe you can actually increase your offer ever so slightly. Number 2 is to set up and receive property alerts. You want to automate this process, automate the property finding process, which takes so much time. I wouldn't necessarily start a brand new search every day on Rightmove and Zoopla. Automate the process. So within Rightmove and Zoopla, you can set up exactly what you're looking for, and you'll be notified straight away to your email when a property that matches your criteria is listed on Rightmove or Zoopla. My third habit is to review the oldest and the most reduced listings. Now, why do I do this? Well, first of all, for the oldest listings, well, if a property has been on the market a while, maybe that vendor is all of a sudden a little bit more motivated to sell their property at a lower price. So if you go to Rightmove, you can filter by oldest first. Now let's come on to most reduced. Most reduced is great because again, it gives you a good indication of a motivated vendor. If they reduced the price once before, maybe they're more likely again to take a lower offer on their property. And Zoopla, again, with Zoopla, you can sort by most reduced. Number 4, well, this won't surprise those of you that have subscribed to the channel, but I diarise all the auctions in my local area and I review the lots that went unsold. So it's really important to have a look at the lots that went unsold. Yes, you can purchase property at auction, post-auction. So when the auction's finished, those lots that didn't sell, again, you can put forward an offer and try and secure a property at a really good price point. Now, I've got a video on the channel where I've done this strategy before and made lots and lots of money doing this. I'll link to this video in the description, and here's a picture of the thumbnail. You have absolutely nothing to lose by submitting an offer on a property that went unsold at auction. Worst case scenario, they're going to chuck it back in the auction and see if they can achieve the figure they want to achieve. But put yourself in the vendor's shoes. If your property, you were hoping your property would sell at auction, all of a sudden it hadn't, maybe you'd be a bit more willing to accept a lower offer on your property to get the property sold and to move on to the next deal. Number 5 is to build relationships with agents, and this is so important. I considered putting this number 1, but it's probably the most obvious one. Now, with your relationships, in my opinion anyway, it's really important to have a small number of really meaningful relationships with agents rather than having 1,000 relationships and contacts with agents all over the country. So maybe handpick 10, 20, 30 agents that you think are going to work really well with you and feed you properties when those properties come up. So again, the better your relationship with that agent, really, in all honesty, the more discount you can command and you're most likely to achieve when you're submitting offers. Now, if you don't have good relationships with agents and maybe you're looking to meet other property professionals, consider signing up to our monthly property networking events. The link is in the description. Everyone is welcome. It's a safe space where we share best practice, and it's a great opportunity for you to meet property investors and property professionals. So the 6th property investor habit to deliver a benefit and a return on investment is actually to read the business news and read the economic news on BBC. And this is really, really important because this very briefly, from a macro point of view, gives you a good snapshot on what's going on at this particular point in time. It will give you a good understanding about what businesses are doing, and also you'll be able to review economic data such as GDP, unemployment rate, and things of that nature. And this will be able to give you data for you to be able to make better decisions as a property investor. Okay, so number 7, which follows on very nicely, is actually to do this, but do this for the US. And what I like to do is I have a quick look at the news that's going on in the US and also check their stock market prices, because what happens in the US tends to follow on over into the UK. And again, if you can see something changing in the US first, well, maybe you're going to be ahead of the game when it comes to investing in the UK, and you can vary your decision making accordingly. So number 8 is to send letters directly to vendors. Well, what do I mean here? Well, if you've come across a property you'd like to acquire, acquire and you don't really know who owns it, well, you could actually send a letter to the vendor. Now, the vendor could be living at that particular property, or the vendor could be located elsewhere if that's a buy-to-let property and it's rented out. And the nice thing about sending letters directly to vendors is you're in direct communication with them. You're not going through a third party like an agent, so you can negotiate directly with that vendor. And at the end of the day, you've got absolutely nothing to lose. Now, how do you do that? Well, if the vendor lives at the property, you have the address anyway, nice and easy. But if they don't, pay £3, go to the land registry, buy a copy of the title, and you'll be able to find the address to post that letter to the landlord and to the vendor, the person that owns that property. So number 9, the ninth property investor habit to deliver a benefit and a return on investment to you, really important, and this is for those that already have properties in place, is to review your rent in a timely manner. This is so important. I've met so many investors, so many landlords that do not review their rents at least on an annual basis. You're leaving a lot of money on the table. Not only is it fair for the tenant, it's great for you because you're able to offset your increased costs by increasing your rent. And especially it's ever so important now that, let's face it, if we're trying to obtain a mortgage now compared to say 2-3 years ago, our mortgage costs have doubled. So it's really important we do this to maximize our profitability. And again, for those investors that already have buy-to-let property and are looking to maximize their profits, I've got an absolutely great video that details several steps on how you can maximize your buy-to-let profits. So here's a link to the video. Here's a picture of the thumbnail. The link is in the description. Okay, so number 10, we're nearly finished now. So number 10, the 10th habit to conduct to see a benefit and return on investment for you as a property investor is actually, if you're raising finance from private investors, keep in touch with them at least on a monthly basis, even for the investors that you haven't yet borrowed money from. Again, it's all about building relationships. You know, I've got a date in my diary every month. I keep in touch with the investors, the people that have lent me money, and the people that I'd like to lend me money. Again, I'll work on that relationships. I'll tell them what opportunities are coming up and see again if I can match the property opportunity with the perfect investor. And there's two parts to this really. Obviously, you're looking to grow your network and to meet new investors, but really it's actually more importantly to maintain and better enhance the existing relationships you have with your investors. Because again, if they're happy, guess what? They're going to come back to you again. Now, the last tip is, again, such an obvious tip, but it's so crucially important, so crucially important. And this is number 11, is to tell everyone what you want. It sounds simple, right? But it's so important. So whatever you're doing in your day, you know, you're going to the gym, are you going on a property viewing, are you out for lunch? Tell that person who you're speaking to what you're looking for. You know, for example, you know, are you looking to acquire a block of flats within the West Yorkshire area? Or maybe you're looking for a development project within Manchester. Tell everyone what you're looking for. And if you're doing this on a daily basis and maybe telling 2 or 3 people as you come across naturally through that day what you're looking for, you'll find actually 2, 3, 4 months later down the line, someone will come back to you and go, oh, Marco, I've actually found this block of flats for sale. Is it of interest? And again, this will start to escalate. So, you know, rather than being happening every a few months that someone comes to you, it's going to happen 2 or 3 times per week. So get into the habit of telling people what you want. And I think you'll be pleasantly surprised with what comes back from the other side. So those are the 11 property investor habits to deliver a return on investment for you. And these habits are habits that I do personally and habits that have worked well for me. And this channel is all about sharing. It's where I share the knowledge, success, and the failures over the past decade that I've been involved in around property. So again, best of luck with your property investing week. All the best. Goodbye.